Hello and welcome to Protect Ukraine Now YouTube channel. On January 11, the Pentagon announced that we cannot continue to supply Ukraine with further military assistance because without new funding from the Congress, doing so would impact our own readiness as a nation.
Two more, yes, sir.
Thank you. I have one on Ukraine, one on the Red Sea. So you said that you had over 4 billion in PDA authority for Ukraine left. So is it possible to use this authority now and replenish the stocks later when the Congress approves the supplemental, given what's at stake here?
Well, certainly what's at stake in Ukraine is incredibly important. And again, this is why we will continue to work closely with Congress to try to receive supplemental funding. At issue here, again, is the question of impacting our own readiness as a nation and the responsibilities that we have, many of which I've talked about here. And so, yes, while we do have that $4.2 billion in authority, we don't have the funds available to us to replenish those stocks should we expend that. And with no timeline in sight, we have to make those hard decisions. And so the most important thing right now is securing additional funding from Congress, and we'll continue to work closely with them on this important international security issue.
As an American, I find this announcement very disturbing, and I would like to believe this is not true. The US spends annually north of $800 billion on defense, and $4.2 billion in question are only 0.5% of that Department of Defense budget. Also, a lot of the military aid to Ukraine is older generation equipment that the US is unlikely to require anytime soon. Yet, we are told these objectively modest military assets are essential for our own readiness as a nation. Now, of course, I don't work for the Pentagon, and there could be many nuances I'm not aware of. So perhaps there is an urgent need to immediately replace the military capabilities we are giving away. You are looking at the Ukraine Security Assistance document released by the Department of Defense on November 22nd of last year. This document is less than 2 months old. Let's first look at the graph on the right-hand side under contracting actions. This shows the distribution of monies under Ukraine presidential drawdown replacement. So this is money back to Pentagon, and the Pentagon is using these funds to get replenishment for their capabilities they are giving away. As you can see, from $25.9 billion that were appropriated by the Congress, only $16.8 billion are under obligations. So that means that about $9 billion of money received by the Department of Defense are not even under any sort of contract. The graph on the left is the distribution of funds under Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative. USAI is a long-term assistance program for Ukraine. The funds are made available to Department of Defense that is in return is signing various contracts with its vendors, and once military gear is produced, it is then shipped to Ukraine. As you can see, under USAI program, the Congress has appropriated $18.9 billion. Out of this total number, only $10.5 billion are obligated. That is, they are under contract. Not delivered to Ukraine, not produced, not in any state of readiness, obligated. So contract is signed. That leaves us with about $8 billion of the USAI appropriated funds that are also just laying on the table without a contract being signed. Now, does this look like the Department of Defense is in urgent need to replace the missing capabilities? Between the two programs we just looked at, the Department of Defense sits on $17 billion without a contract in sight. Does this look like the true reason we cannot continue assisting Ukraine is because we're out of cash? Let's give this situation a little context. Since October of last year, Ukraine is out of funding, and the way things look at the moment, we're unlikely to have a new supplemental bill pass before end of February or perhaps later. In the same time, Russia has increased airstrikes against Ukrainian cities. They also continue to receive military equipment from Iran and North Korea and work on their own military assault complex. At the same time, this administration doesn't see it possible to continue supplying weapons to Ukraine. I urge everyone who believes this is wrong to pick up their phone and call their senators and representatives. We cannot hold Ukraine hostage to American politics. Please tell your elected officials that the aid to Ukraine must continue now. At the moment, the Department of Defense has $4.2 billion of presidential drawdown authorizations, and they must continue to supply Ukraine with military capabilities they need for survival. Please share this video with your circle of family and friends. Thank you very much.